It's a Tuesday afternoon, and you're sitting in a room full of people your own age, and you feel nothing in common with any of them. Their laughter feels distant, almost childish. You're doing the math in your head without meaning to how old you actually feel inside versus the number on your ID. If you've always felt older than everyone around you, psychology says there's a reason. There are 5 rare traits that explain why, and once you see them laid out, you'll understand exactly why you've spent your whole life feeling like you skipped a step everyone else got to take. Most people assume this means something is wrong with them, that they're too serious, too intense, too disconnected from people their own age. But psychology tells a completely different story. It's not a flaw. It's a pattern with a name. Trait 1. Early emotional caretaking. Somewhere back in your childhood, you became the one who managed the mood in the room. Not because anyone assigned you that job. You just noticed, faster than the adults around you, when something was about to break, a fight, a silence that meant something, a parent's bad day walking through the door. And you adjusted yourself before it happened. Psychologists call this parentification, when a child has to become emotionally responsible for adults before they're ever allowed to simply be a child. But that wasn't actually the moment you started feeling older. The real shift happened afterward. Maybe it looked like this. You're 8 years old, sitting at the top of the stairs, listening to your parents' voices change downstairs. Not the words, just the pitch, the register that meant something was wrong. And before anyone called your name, you were already moving. Already softening your face, already rehearsing the version of yourself that wouldn't make anything worse. Nobody taught you to do that. You just learned, the way you learn to duck before you understand what's being thrown. And the next morning, everyone acted like nothing had happened, except you, who was still quietly recalculating whether it was safe to relax yet, checking faces at the breakfast table for signs the storm might not be over. And here's the strange part. It wasn't the responsibility itself that aged you. It was what came after. Because once your nervous system learns to scan a room for danger before it enjoys anything in it, it never fully unlearns that. It was as if your brain installed an alarm system that nobody else around you seemed to have. That's trait 2. Hypervigilant maturity. While other kids were allowed to just exist inside their own experience, you were tracking everyone else's, reading tone of voice, reading the silence after a door closed too hard. You could walk into a classroom, a family dinner, a friend's house, and within seconds know exactly where the tension was sitting in the room, even if nobody else in that room had noticed it yet. Your brain built an early warning system most people don't develop until decades later, if ever. It made you sharp. It also made you tired in a way that had nothing to do with sleep. The particular exhaustion of a mind that never fully clocks out, even in rooms where nothing is actually wrong. And after years of reading danger, something unexpected happened. You stopped reading only situations. You started reading people. That's what trait 3 is really about. Trait 3. Accelerated perspective taking. At some point, you stopped seeing the world only through your own eyes. You started imagining what it looked like from someone else's. Your mother's exhaustion behind her forced smile at the door. Your friend's insecurity hiding under a joke that landed a little too hard. A stranger's bad day written in the way they gripped their coffee cup. This is a skill most people build slowly across a lifetime. You built it at 9, at 11, at 13 out of necessity, not maturity, and it never really left. It's why small talk can feel unbearable. While someone else is talking about the weather, part of you is already reading what's underneath it. Why their voice tightened on that last sentence, what they're not saying. You're not being difficult. You're just standing several steps ahead in a conversation everyone else is still starting. But here's what almost nobody tells you about that skill. It comes at a cost most people never name out loud. Trait 4. Delayed self-permission. Somewhere in learning to read everyone else so well, You never quite learned to ask what you needed. You got good at anticipating other people's feelings and quietly average at naming your own. Even now, you might notice yourself waiting for permission to rest, to want something for no reason, to take up space without justifying it first. Think about the last time you sat down to relax and immediately felt the pull to justify it. A mental list of everything you'd already earned that rest by finishing first. Or the last time someone asked what you wanted and your mind went blank, not because you didn't have an answer, but because you'd never practiced looking for one. This isn't weakness. It's the direct result of a mind that spent its early years oriented outward, because looking outward was what kept things stable. Before we get to the trait that ties everything together, if you've made it this far, hit subscribe, because the next video goes even deeper into what happens when this pattern follows you into adult relationships. Trait 5. The one that's different from all the others, because it isn't really a burden at all. It's the strange gift hiding underneath everything you've just recognized. It's called premature wisdom, but almost nobody recognizes the hidden cost of becoming wise too early. People begin depending on you long before you ever learn how to depend on someone else. You may even notice that when everyone else starts panicking, the room somehow turns toward you. Not because you're the oldest, not because you have all the answers, but because you've been carrying emotional weight for so long that calm became your default setting. That's why you've always been the person others come to first when something falls apart, the friend who gets the 2 a.m. text, the sibling who ends up mediating, the one everyone quietly assumes will hold it together, even when nobody ever asks if you have the capacity for it that day. Not because you asked for that role, because your mind was shaped, early and involuntarily, into something calmer and steadier than your age would suggest. You learned to hold weight before you learned to complain about it. And that early training never went away, it just became who you are. This is the part most people miss. They spend years wishing they could feel young the way everyone else seems to. But what actually happened to you wasn't a loss. It was an early education in exactly the things most people spend their whole lives avoiding: how to sit with discomfort, how to read a room, how to carry something heavy without dropping it. You didn't skip your childhood. You just spent it learning a curriculum nobody else had to take. You were never too serious. You were never too intense. You were never disconnected from people your age. You were simply built on a different timeline, one that asked more of you earlier and gave you something back that most people don't earn until much later in life, if they ever do. That's not something to grieve. It's something to finally recognize. You were never broken. You were built differently. Which one have you lived with your whole life? Drop a number in the comments.